Hi everyone. Oh my gosh, has this Global Mindset Summit been amazing or what? I have thoroughly enjoyed these last few days having this opportunity to watch so many amazing mindset leaders from around the world and for them to share their craft, to share amazing tips and techniques in that for all of us. It's been incredible. And huge shout out to Lisa and Jeff for orchestrating a beautiful event in such a expeditious way. I mean, it's been, at least for me, bearing witness to all of this, it seems like it's gone relatively smooth and flawless, right? And they put this together in such a very short period of time. An incredible journey. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Jeff, and for all that have come together to make this something extraordinary, something that's never happened before, at least not in my time period. And how awesome is it that we're all a part of this journey. Hey, Tammy. Hi, Teresa. I'm glad you guys could come. So I'm going to introduce myself and kind of tell you what I'm going to talk about. And just as a disclaimer, I'm probably not going to catch your comments during the live because it'd almost be like a squirrel. I might get a little disjointed and forget where I am. So please forgive me if I'm not answering that right live. I do promise you that at the end of this little talk that I do, that I will come back and I will answer all of your comments. So thank you so much. So who am I? I'm Dr. KellyRae, and I am notably known as an inner critic tamer, somebody who works with some extraordinary people from around the world to help them to tame this rascal by understanding the languaging and the idiosyncrasies of our inner critic and how that rascal can trip us up, can keep us stuck, can keep us small, can keep us feeling like we're not worthy and deserving of more in our lives. Giving you the tools to tame that rascal so you can live vibrantly, so you can live confidently, and so that you can live in control of your life. And that's really important right now, right? As we're dealing with this pandemic that's taken place on the world, this health crisis, that we can feel a little out of control. We can feel a little out of sorts. And so my goal and my intention for teaching you these 5 strategies, these protective strategies, is that they're easy to implement and they're highly effective. They're something that we can do in our everyday life, not just during a pandemic, but during any time that we're feeling a little off or feeling a little out of kilter. How can we rein ourselves back in so that we can be productive for ourselves and our family and live vibrantly, right? Because isn't that, I don't know about you, but that's pretty important to me. So let's get started, shall we? I'm going to talk, the first strategy is going to be thought shielding. With so many things continuing to feel uncertain, maybe a little daunting, a little scary, a little anxious during this time period, because we've been doing this, at least here in the United States, for just about over a month now. And although this is an adjustment to our new temporary normal way of being, it can be a little taxing and it can be a little uncertain. So part of that is for us to be able to control is the thoughts. Be the gatekeepers of your thoughts. Be the one that's consciously mindful of what information that you're allowing to come in to your mind and how you're processing and how you are expressing it. What are the words that you're using? What is the language that you're using? On one hand, it might be amazing that we have such a wealth of platforms that we can go to now to gather information. And it can also be overwhelming. A lot of the information that we could be receiving right now through our news media and other platforms, some of it is real and some of it is not real. And the thing is about our inner critic, our unconscious mind, is they take that information and they process it based on our individual beliefs that we've developed over our lifetime. So when I think of this inner critic tamer, just so a disclosure, mine's name is Trudy. I like it to be personal. I like to be able to have a dialogue with her rather than monkey brain or lizard brain or whatever other terms people use out there. Mine's Trudy. So Trudy has developed a strategy for how information's processed. We gather all of this data every day in our lives by the things that we see, by the things that we hear, by the things that we feel. And based on that, our little inner critic here labels it. There's no emotional in it. It's labeled as beliefs, things that we've labeled them from early on. So it could be fear, it could be guilt, it could be shame, it could be worry, anxiety, could be joy. Could be excitement, could be love, could be peace and calm. That's the job of your unconscious mind, is to label all of that stuff and categorize it and put it in its appropriate places so that when something comes up or is expressed or we see or hear, immediately goes to that pile, let's say it's fear, and brings up all of the energy in our body to feel fear. It just immediately goes into that state, as if we're ready to take charge. So be very mindful as you're the gatekeepers of your thoughts during this time period and any other time period in your life where you're feeling uncertain. Limit the amount of news that you take in. Here's the thing, we have so many platforms, as I said earlier, where news organizations are now having to compete with all of these different social media sites who are having people put information out, that it's almost like a competition. So everybody's throwing their information out there. If you start to see repeated stories and you start to hear them again, stop. Just stop right there. That's a form of programming. It's a form of programming that we learned long ago, that when we repeat something over and over and over again, eventually it becomes a behavior, a pattern, a belief that we hold, and we operate from that state. I don't want you to operate from a fear state, from a scarcity state, from an anxious state. And one of the ways that you can do that as the thought keeper of your thoughts is to limit the amount of exposure that you're getting from the media. This is why this summit is a perfect time for that. It's because you're getting information that can help validate that you are safe, that you are okay, and that you are capable of weathering this. The other thing is, be willing to take deep breaths. I know that you've heard many of the other mindset leaders here talk about that on various forums. I know that because I've been watching them. It's so important that when you are taking deep breaths, do it from your belly. You want to make sure that you're getting a nice full breath through your stomach. You can breathe in through your nose, but if you need to, put your hands on your tummy, because you want to come from a place of groundedness. You want to come from a place of, okay, I'm all right. When we start breathing through our chest or doing that shallow breathing, we're now in that state of fight or flight. And usually from that state of mind, we're not necessarily making good decisions for ourselves. And we could be reacting in a way that could cause harm to ourselves or those that we're having to spend more time with. Which this brings me to my second one. Strategy number 2 is define and express your relationship needs. There's no doubt that we're all feeling a plethora of feelings and thoughts right now, right? As we're navigating this temporary new normal. I can't express temporary enough. We're not going to be in this forever. Remind yourself of that. But as we spend now time with others in our household that maybe ordinarily we didn't spend as much time with because we had functions outside, maybe you're home with your kids, maybe you have a spouse or a partner or roommates that now you're having to spend so much time with. This is not the time for you to suffer silently. Let me repeat that again. Now is not the time for you to suffer silently. This is not the time for you to feel like you have to be the strong one that carries everything silently within inside of you so that you can take care of everyone else that's in the household and make sure everyone else is stable and take on everyone else's anxiety and stress and concern and worry and maybe even grumpiness. It's not going to serve you, and it's not going to serve your family or roommates or the people that you're in space with very well if you're not expressing your own needs. This is a time for us to be extremely compassionate and empathetic, not only with those that we share our space with, but for ourselves. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. This is possibly the first time that any of us have been in a pandemic, right? So we're all trying to navigate this as best that we can. And part of that is being kind and compassionate to ourselves and also asking for what it is that we need. Understanding that this is not a one-way street. We need to be able to give the same graces to everyone else in the household. So if it's a matter of you saying, hey, I need some space, I need some alone time, ask for that and take that time. And in the same vein, if somebody's telling you, hey, I just need a break, I just need my own space, my own time, don't take that personal. Honor them. Give them that space. What's going to happen is if you both have taken your space and have allowed yourself to get fresh air or whatever it may be, you're going to come back into your collective space together refreshed, not as stressed out, not as anxious, and not as maybe grumpy and feisty with one another because you're all holding this stuff in. Don't do that. Be willing to ask for what you need. This brings me to number 3. Sorry, I'm looking over here because I'm making sure that I'm being respectful of the time because I can go on and on. Number 3 is set energetic boundaries. Right now, many of us are combining home, work, and school together, and that kind of sets us up for being a little bit more receptive to energy. This is not something that's just applicable to those that identify as empaths or highly sensitive. We all have the ability to feel overwhelmed, to feel stressed out, to feel anxious, to feel panicky, to feel depressed, sad, heavy, just as we all have the ability to feel joy and excitement and love and peace and calm. This is really important to kind of tighten up the boundaries and be willing to, again, express your needs and understanding how we're all working from home together. I don't know about any of you, but the first few days or so, what I was hearing friends and family and those talk about being home is it was glorious. Oh my gosh, it was like a dream come true. Finally get to work from home and the visions that you'd always had of what it would be like to work from home. And then the days went on and the weeks went on, and now it's like, this is all a little bit too much. So if you're kind of feeling in that space of, oh, this is a little too much and, I thought I could handle it. Well, I want to tell you, you can handle it. We're just putting some tools in place to make that happen. So I'm going to encourage you, if you have not done so already, is to create a daily schedule. I know it sounds so simple, right? So why is this important? It gives you a sense of feeling like you're in control of your life. It gives you a sense of what you would identify as normal. So set breaks through your day. It's super important to have breaks. If you worked in a job outside of the home and you worked with other coworkers and that, there's no doubt that you were taking breaks through your day, maybe to go get another cup of coffee, refill your bottle of water. Maybe it was just to have a little side chit chat with one of your coworkers. Maybe it was to merely go take a walk around the building so you could get some fresh air. It's imperative that you implement that in your daily life. Right now, you're home 24/7, and that can seem like a really long day. So set some breaks through your day. Also, take a lunch break. Take a lunch break away from your workspace. I can't implore you to do that enough. Again, we need this separation from home, from work, from parenting, from spousing, from roommating, whatever it may be. I know for my daughter and I have a teenager, and so we have been doing lunch the same time every day. Some days we do lunch together. We sit outside and have lunch together. Some days we want to have our separate lunch, not because we're upset with one another or anything like that. It's just having our own space that we can get our own thoughts together and work through whatever we need to do. Again, this is nothing personal. Do this for your own self. If you want to have lunch by yourself, do that. Have it separate from your workspace and really enjoy it. Allow yourself to really enjoy that. The other thing to do is create a task. If you have children at home, create a task or a jobs list. Now, I know where my daughter went to school from kindergarten to 8th grade, they started that really early on, where the kids got a clipboard, and on this clipboard was a piece of paper that had each day what their jobs were. And it was brilliant that they came up with the term for the kids to do jobs, because then it made it relatable to what their parents were doing. Parents having to go to a job. Create some tasks for your kids to do. Look, they want to be a part of this as well. They want to feel that they're being productive and purposeful just like you. They want to feel like they're part of a solution as well. Give that to them. Let them feel empowered. Let them feel like they're contributing to the whole of this. Maybe they decide what you guys get to have for dinner that night, or they make a menu plan, whatever. It doesn't matter. Give them some jobs to do so that they can feel like they're being productive, just like you. The other thing is, and really super important, is have a team meeting. Have a team meeting. Your new co-workers have become the people that are in your household right now. Maybe if you live alone and friends and family are checking up on you, maybe you have a team meeting with them. And so what's the purpose of this team meeting? Is to kind of set the ground for what the day looks like for you and for everyone else that you're sharing space with. Be real clear how your day looks, how their day looks, and how you can energetically and collectively work that day out so you're not stepping on each other's toes. Nothing worse than being resentful because you hear people in the background laughing while you're having to work. Why be resentful of that if you haven't expressed, hey, I have a meeting at this time and so I need it to be quiet. Communicate that. Be willing to communicate that in your team meetings so everybody knows for the day what the day looks like for everyone. Perfect. Here's what we do at the end of our day. Is I want you to get out of the house. Go. You leave your job every day. The 5-6 days a week, however many days you leave, you before the pandemic and we're all in shelter in place, when you finished your job, you got in your car and you went home. Are you doing that now? I'm going to encourage you to do that. If that means stepping out your door onto your patio, if you have a yard, go stand in the grass. One of the things I used to do when my daughter was an infant, because again, working from home, the days seemed very, very long. And how I could get around that was I would load her up in her car seat and we would take a drive around the block or be gone on a 10-minute drive just to disconnect that work time mindset from my home life. Even though I was working at home, I wanted those two to be separate. So I would take her for a drive. Some days I'd load her up in a stroller and take her for a walk around the neighborhood if it was a nice day. I'm going to encourage you to do that because you want to be able to come home to your home and do whatever your night routine is. Feeling like you've disconnected from work, feeling like you've disconnected from the outside world to now come into your safe space, your peace haven, whatever it is. Create that for yourself. In so doing, by putting a split, putting a break in that day. Which brings me to strategy number 4, prevent overload. Now, let's not all pretend that we're all so strong and mighty and that we never have days of anxiety or stress or frustration or panic, any of those things. We do. We're human. It's inevitable. It's probably going to happen. It's having the tools to be able to tame this little rascal right here, to not go all sideways, is definitely instrumental in keeping you from going off the rails. But prevent overload. So I'm going to give you a few things that I do for myself to help when I start to feel like, oh, I'm getting a little worked up. I need to not be this way. So one of them is using essential oils. I use lavender, and I just put a little drop on my hand, can emulsify it up, put it up to my nose, and take a long, slow, deep breath. Inhaling that scent of lavender, I can immediately feel my body start to relax, kind of decompress. The other thing that lavender is great for is putting it on your feet at night to help you with sleep, to get a good resting sleep. It's imperative that you're getting good restorative sleep during all of this time. Not just because you're tired or fatigued and your mind's still going. No, you need to be able to shut her down so that you can allow your body to restore. And one of the ways you can do that is through the the essential oil lavender. Epsom salt soak is another great one if you have access to that. And just get yourself into that glorious state of relaxation. Another thing you can do is spend time out in nature. I cannot express this enough. There's something magnificently restoring about nature. Get out in grass, go out barefoot, go stand in that grass and see what that feels like. It could bring up memories of your childhood when you felt like you were free and playful and not a care in the world. Maybe it's a feeling that you're actually grounded and attached to something that makes you feel safe. That earth just gives you that solid grounding feeling. Go hug a tree. I know, that sounds crazy, right? You don't want to look silly hugging a tree. That's fine. Go lean up a tree. Go lean up against it. Be cool and lean up against it. Put your hands on the tree. Allow yourself to feel that nature. Be a part of it, because it's going to help bring you a lot of good oxygen. Good oxygen through really nice deep breathing is going to help clear your head. It's going to help your whole body feel better. So I'm going to really encourage you to get out in nature if possible. More than ever, people are talking about all of this, right? Everybody's an expert on the pandemic, the coronavirus that's going on, or whatever happens to be the hot topic at the time. Everybody's an expert. And we can be really overloaded with all of that. Know that it's perfectly okay to say, I don't want to talk about that. You don't have to apologize for that. You don't have to make excuses for that. You don't have to justify why it's too much for you to talk about this. just be very, very clear and be very honest with yourself and with whomever is wanting to talk about this, that you really don't want to talk about this. It's not personal. And the same goes for them. If maybe you're talking about it a little too much because you're trying to process everything that's going on, and someone says to you, hey, I really can't talk about this, don't take it personal. Reach out to somebody like one of us mindset coaches that are here, and see if we can't help you get that dialed in, help you process through the thoughts that are coming up that are keeping you wanting to talk about this. A lot of times we're talking about it because we're trying to come up with a reasonable explanation as to why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And one of the ways to do that is to talk about it. So reach out to somebody who can help you walk through that and not take it personal. And you get to keep your relationships at home. And nobody's getting all feisty with one another because everybody doesn't want to talk about it. Another thing that works really well is create an I am list. An I am list, if you don't know what that is and you'd like one, reach out to me, send me a private message, and I'll send you one. An I am list is merely writing down, I am strong, I am safe, I am courageous, I am peaceful, I feel calm, I am. I am is a statement that we can say to ourselves. And again, remember, our inner critic, our unconscious mind, doesn't differentiate between whether it's true or false. It just assumes it to be. So this is an opportunity for you to really implant those things that you want to feel. If you want to feel safe, you want to feel resilient, you want to feel resourceful, then tell yourself that you are. And again, if you'd like a list, let me know. Send me a message and I'll shoot one out to you. And at the end of your day, I want you to cut yourself a break. And I want you to tell yourself, I did good. I'm okay. I did good. And I'm okay. You did good. And you're okay. Allow yourself to go to sleep knowing that, because you will get a better night's sleep. The last thing I want to talk about, because I can see I'm running out of time here, is number 5, is the pause. The pause is something that we can do anytime, anywhere, except for when we're driving. Because I usually do the pause with my eyes closed, and I wouldn't recommend that if you're driving. The pause is merely taking a long, slow, deep breath, holding it for 10, 20 seconds, and then slowly releasing it out. What this does, one, is it puts you totally in control. You're getting to control the inhale of that breath, how fast it comes in, how slow it comes in. You hold that breath. You're in control of how long you hold that. You exhale that slowly. Again, you're in control of how quickly or how slowly you release that breath. It's really, really important, because what that's going to do is throughout the day, our energy tends to expand and expand and expand out, because we're helping everyone, making sure that we're meeting all of our deadlines, making sure that we're up to date on what's happening with the coronavirus and everything else. That it's super important that at the end of the day that we're bringing our energy back into our center so that we are grounded and that we are standing on solid ground for ourselves. That's what that pause does. You can do this pause several times throughout the day if you need to. Again, know that you're the one that's absolutely in control of that. So I'm going to do that real quickly with you, and we're not going to hold it for 10 seconds because I only have like a minute left. I want you to put your hands on your stomach. You can close your eyes if you want. And I want you to take a long, slow, deep breath in. Hold. Slowly exhale. Release all of that breath. You're going to feel your shoulders relax. You're going to feel your neck relax. You're going to feel your face relax. You might feel your hips, legs, feet, everything start to relax. Get you back into you. I hope that these strategies were helpful. I hope that you continue to enjoy the remainder of this Global Mindset Summit. And please know that I send you so much love. Bye.